defensive coordinator for the Canes? Oh,
Exactly.
I hate to condemn Manny Diaz. He looks like a good guy. He seems like he says and does all the right things about, well, you know what? We're concerned about academics here. Yeah, sure. Maybe you need to get unconcerned, man. Throw all the books out of the football dormitory there except for the playbook. I mean, the worst tackling team in Division I football. Penalties and stupidity. Just all over the place. And then on top of that, you're going to get that thing they stole from Flavor Flav and put it around a guy's neck when you're down 17 to a crap team on the road, and you finally get a fumble, on some fluke play, some fat guy falls on the ball, and then you got to hang this chain around his neck that has like a grandfather clock attached to it. Disgrace all the way around. I mean, think about it. Schnellenberger, he would have sent the house. Jimmy would have sent the house. You think Jimmy's going to count Mississippi 1, Mississippi 2, Mississippi 3, Mississippi? Oh, look at that. We didn't execute the play properly. That really scares me more than anything in life. Never mind losing all of your money gambling. Is there anything worse? You open the fridge door thinking you're going to shove that half a cheeseburger that you had left over, and you took it with you, even though you probably were going to have to put it in a drawer and eat it again. You open the door, the refrigerator door, and you're thinking you're just going to put something in there from, because naturally you don't even bother to check in. You already ate something before you got to the hotel. And the minute you open the door, like a slot machine, the wheels start turning.
Yes. Yeah, don't even
and
bump
it's
into
$17. I mean, you may as well just buy your drinks on the plane. $17 for a little tiny, thing of vodka? You got to be kidding me.
It's almost like, that thing.
M&M's $20 a pop. I mean, who's making the prices there? Joe Biden? What is that? Don't gamble in anger.
She hit the daily.
Very calm. Think it through. If you need a little help, don't gamble in anger.
I get a panic phone call, and he says, "Do you have any extra cash?" I go, "Yeah, I brought money with me to Atlantic City." He goes, "Well, I can't get any more out of the card because the Mustang went wild and emptied the daily allotment of cash."
Double nickels, man. She went for a nickel on her card and a nickel on mine.
The time. Wake up with Defo, joined by Luby. Welcome to the Defo Show.
Very pleasant. Good morning, everybody. Great to be with you here on the Defo Show. It's just overwhelming. Our association with the Ion Channel, great people there. Jack Namer getting critical acclaim around the world. The lovely Amy, Brad, engineering masterpieces our last couple of days here on the air. And good to be back with you. And this happens to be, I don't know about you, Luby, but outside of just having like a week off, like you just spent that luxurious week traveling Europe and traipsing all over the world, I haven't had the good fortune of being able to do that. I can't afford not to work. But if you were going to work a week, this, by far, of all the weeks of the year, is my favorite work week, where people pretty much, I don't know, they checked out already, Luby. How are you, by the way? How was your weekend? Good to be with you here on the show.
Got to watch lots of football. It's great. Shirley was so exhausted that she takes these naps. So I just get to watch football in peace and not have to explain. Because every time she wakes up, she's like, "What game is this? A new one?" No, it looks the same. It's different. So
I used to get down with college basketball. Yeah, if you were watching 4 straight college basketball games during the NCAA tournament opening round, and you'd be sitting there 8 hours later, and the wife would come home and go, "Well, you're still watching that same game?" Yeah. Oh no, this is Purdue and Duke. What are you talking about? But I don't know why there's so little tolerance for that. It should be a right of every American on Sunday to sit around on their fat butt and watch football all day in some form or fashion. I don't know. Does it seem especially lazy if you don't even go out to a bar and watch football? Because actually, Mustang is a football fan, and obviously a great fan of alcohol, but so she doesn't mind a combination at all. I mean, if I suggest we go to a sports bar and down a couple of cocktails while I watch the Dolphins game or whatever football game happens to be on that's of interest, which is pretty much any football game, is it not?
Yes.
Do you not at some point just say, hey, I don't care what it is. It doesn't matter if it's the Lions and Cleveland, which we do get an extra portion of the Lions to try and wash down with our Thanksgiving dinner. And you know what would be amazing if that was their first win taking place on Thanksgiving Day. But wild weekend all the way around. It is stressful watching the news. It's getting absolutely bizarre watching any kind of news program. Did you see this latest thing in Wisconsin? Never mind the Rittenhouse trial. And the fact that the guy now is being applauded. I mean, he's signing autographs in a St. Petersburg Waffle House as if he was some kind of American hero here. Like all of a sudden this kid became Paul Revere. I mean, what is a 16-year-old kid doing running around, leaving his house with an automatic weapon so he can go on some vigilante kind of tour of another state? Where were his parents on this? They were very supportive, by the way, thinking, oh, well, poor Kyle. We like to see our 16-year-old armed with a automatic assault weapon and running into a crowd of wild and angry people, whatever they're protesting. I mean, do you really want your 16-year-old son running out there? Unless, he's too young to be in the military or in any kind of law enforcement. So what the hell is this kid doing out there? Now he's signing autographs. And, of course, the right-wing Republican senators and politicians here, representatives in the state of Florida, are all applauding the fact that Getz guy, who, what happened to him? Wasn't he in some kind of jackpot?
Yep,
that Representative Getz?
Gates, yep. Lots of stuff, but he gets off somehow every time.
Yeah, you would think he had as clean a record as Stan Getz, the saxophone player. But and I don't know that he was guilty of any of these things they accused him of. But it does seem a little out of line to kind of be celebrating the fact that this tragedy, which could have easily been avoided if all the kid did was stay home, took place, and people are applauding the fact that they decided to give him a free pass on what is some very questionable, at best, behavior. But anyway, I mean, we had controversy here, and this was kind of interesting because one of our local guys was involved in this thing, not responsible for it, and I'm not sure how I feel about this. But Margate, Florida, not necessarily a city known or inclined to be involved in any kind of international controversy. Would you agree with that, Libby? Did you not live in and or border near Margate, Florida?
You literally, from my house, see Margate. The next, like right past the closest main road is Margate.
I spent many hours in Margate, of course, as it was essentially the home of one of my fine sponsors for many years, the great Jim Dunn and the people at JM Lexus. So I spent every Saturday there with the trivia challenge for a while, till we later, subsequently, and very happily, out of circumstance, I ended up moving to Hialeah Park and a great Frank Fiore. So that worked out well. But here's what's happening. They have the Broward County Fair. Margate, Florida is in Broward County.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, it's in Margate somewhere. I'm not sure exactly what location where they found enough space to put all of the Carney stuff that was going on there. Now, they've already had one incident there where Carney shot another guy.
Oh, Jesus.
Or he was shooting at somebody and accidentally, I mean, and this is pretty bizarre, but ended up like hitting a lady in the foot, like a 90-year-old lady in the foot at an old age home that was neighboring nearby. This is the kind of neighborhood. So that happened like the first day. That was opening day. How'd you like to be running this carnival there, the Broward County Fair? What do you want to do? You want to go there, get a couple of corn dogs, eat something that's going to kill you, and, have the kids have a good time at about $50 a pop to go on some crummy rides, right? I mean, is that not essentially it?
Pretty much.
So fairs are also inclined. I mean, I know this was true of the Los Angeles County Fair, which was my favorite county fair anywhere, anytime, any place, because they had a racetrack as part of what was going on at the LA County Fair, Pomona, which was one of my favorite places to go because you only had to handicap to the first turn. And if your horse didn't make the first turn, it literally ended up on the Ferris wheel because the turns were so sharp and there was no embankment whatsoever to the track. It was rarely used. It was more of a harness track, and they were using it for thoroughbred racing. But and this is a racing-related story because the big complaint now, and this caused friction in City Hall, and people are petitioning and they're boycotting and they're doing all kinds of crazy things because they have some guy that has been putting monkeys on the back of dogs and running races. Now, there's a history there because when dog racing was first in existence, I guess here in the state, they did have monkeys on the back of the greyhounds as jockeys.
Okay.
No lie. I mean, you can go back, look at some historical footage of this stuff, and there are monkeys riding the greyhounds.
What?
Which it would be hard to get both entities into the box, wouldn't it? I don't know how they started those races, but, it would not have gone well for the monkeys, especially if they had to leave from that little box that they put the dogs in. Dogs are in a box. Here comes Rusty. There they go.
How does the monkey stay on the dog? Like, did the monkeys just jump off? Like, how does that even?
Not sure if they're strapped on or what, man. I think they put their little feet in the stirrups Not sure exactly how that works with monkeys on dogs, but no, they seem to be kind of secured on the back of the dog. And now these weren't greyhounds. It was like any kind of dog. There was a poodle, there was a Labrador. And the guy lets them out of the gate and they race. And the monkeys are on the back. And, PETA people, animal activists naturally are upset, saying that this is an absolutely cruel and abusive display on the part of the person that is running the show, and that it should be banned in Margate. And yet, I don't know, where would you have any kind of legislation saying it would be prohibited to have monkeys riding on dogs at a county fair in Margate, Florida? And this guy apparently has been doing this for a long time. He says he takes great care of the animals. I don't know whether to buy that or not, judging by the look. I mean, what's scarier? Riding on a New York subway these days might be the only thing scarier than running into a carny at a delicatessen near where the county fair was running. But anyway, so this has created a big stink. So, of course, what happens when I'm watching the news footage? There's Larry the Leaper screaming, "Come on with that too!" And then when the dog loses the race, he ended up screaming at. He was absolutely badgering the monkey on its way back into whatever place that they kept these monkeys in between races, and he's screaming at him like he was Jerry Bailey walking through the pathway there to get back to the Jocks room at Gulfstream Park. You're a bum! You'll never ride again. Like, Larry, it's a monkey. I mean, what are you, crazy? I guess he had action on the thing, but I'm not sure how that's going to be resolved. But part of the bizarre things that are going on in the world, including, I mean, did you see this? That was a tragedy also in Wisconsin. This guy mowing down all of these people at a parade.
Well, like, was that? I'm confused. That was by accident, right? Like, because it was just was it like a parade for?
I don't know. I didn't see any details on the story beyond that it happened and that there may have been a guy in custody. And they weren't sure what the reason was for it. I mean, what was he angry about something, or just he lost control of his car and mowed down like 40 people? Seems a little bit bizarre, doesn't it? Anyway, so a lot of weird stuff happening, and that's why we like to delve into the toy department here and stay away from all of the serious stuff and just deal in the world of sports, which unfortunately a lot of people want you to take seriously.
Yes.
And not that we don't. I mean, look, you're a big sports fan, but, you can't be, going crazy about it like you were talking about the infrastructure bill. And you were trying to convince Joe Manchin that, hey, this is a good thing. Why don't you side with your brothers? We know nobody on the other side is going to dare step out of line and actually vote on anything with their convictions, although a couple of people have lately, and they've been ostracized by the right-wing Republican Party. I mean, this Liz Cheney, I mean, she seems to be making sense, no?
I know.
Am I crazy, Luby? I don't want to get into it, though.
God forbid.
It's dangerous turf. Yeah, no, we don't want to get into that. All right, the Jets and the Dolphins. John Kajemi going to join us later on. Jason Cole also going to be with us on football. Jason Cole, of course, tremendous NFL insider. Yeah, well, we got a Pigskin Monday here on the Defo show. And John's going to have a little Dateline Dolphins, which I did watch the majority of that Dolphins game against the New York Jets. It wasn't the worst game I've ever seen. I would have to say the fact that the Jets were competitive with a 90-year-old Joe Flacco at quarterback, I thought was, exceptional. Made it kind of interesting. And then did you see the stunned look on the faces of the Dolphins coaches in the box when Tua actually threw a ball 50 yards down the field?
They're like, no.
They couldn't believe it. They were stunned. Now, it wasn't the greatest pass. It's not like he hit this guy Hollins in stride or anything, who was wide open. I mean, it's hard to imagine what was a bigger blown coverage, that or later on Sunday night in the Chargers game against the Pittsburgh Steelers, when the Steelers had taken the lead in the ball game, and they were 0-230 when trailing by 17 points or more in the fourth quarter. That's historically. You would think the Pittsburgh Steelers, I mean, they were around in the leather helmet days. You would think at some point they might have overcome a 17-point or more deficit in the fourth quarter, scored 3 touchdowns and won the game by shutting the other team out. Steel curtain. I mean, every now and then you might think that they had to rally from the grave in the fourth quarter to win a game. And it's also suspect. It's kind of like red zone statistics, which is another big Phil Mushnick thing, red zone stats. Because how do you judge the level of success or failure if being like 1 inch inside the 20 with a 4th and goal counts the same in the red zone statistics as being at the 1 inch line with a 1st and goal? It's crazy, right? And they'll always, get into all. Well, you know what? In the red zone, they've done this and that, but the red zone is a pretty wide body of land, is it not?
Yes.
And there are lots of different circumstances that have to factor into that, depending on how you got there or where you started out. Did you have to go 20 yards? Did you have to go a couple of feet? So how can you measure that all on the same level? There's no real common denominator there. So the stats are crazy. And announcers now are just force feeding us stats. Why? Is that related to gambling also?
Yes.
I'm not sure that it is, or is it just for lack of anything better to say than to constantly be force feeding us red zone efficiency statistics? And they're deceiving because it's just not the same thing. You can't consider every circumstance to be equal and on the same level where you can go, okay, well, they're only 50% in this spot. That might be remarkable for the number of red zone possessions that a team had. But speaking of red zone, I mean, you were seeing red if you were a Jets fan. And that sack fumble of Flacco, which kind of turned the game around. I guess there were other turning points in that ball game, or perceived turning points. But when Flacco got smacked in the back, the Jets were like at the 5-yard line. Looked like they were going to score. They had all the momentum going in their favor. And then for some reason, I don't know who dialed up this blocking scheme. They decided to let a guy just come straight off the right side and into the blind side, or the left side, rather, if you were Flacco, and into the blind side of Joe Flacco. And did that not remind you of that opening scene in Saving Private Ryan, the way he got blown up? He looked like one of those extras that was pulling up on the beach. Okay, Lou, make it look good. Ball goes flying in the air. A Dolphin defender comes up with it. A lineman comes up with it. And then he fumbles the ball later on, and Flacco nearly got it back. So it was that kind of game. I guess when you have two weak teams, you're going to get play like that. But the Dolphins prevailed now. And think about this, Louis. They have an extremely soft schedule coming up. I think they play the Giants, the Jets again, and somebody else that's not very good. Carolina, yes. Carolina. So they have 4 games that are conceivably winnable. I guess they're all winnable. If Houston could beat the Tennessee Titans yesterday, the Houston Texans getting a win. So anything is possible in the National Football League. I mean, it's a literal roll of the dice every time they go out there. Who would figure that the Buffalo Bills would get dominated again? Yeah.
That team's lost it. That team's a mess.
Crazy, yeah. I mean, and they get blown out by Indianapolis, who we didn't think was that good. And they actually have acquitted themselves very well of late. And who knows, might be a force to be reckoned with later on down the road. Also, the New England Patriots find themselves atop the AFC East. So who could predict anything of any level of consistency that's going to happen in the National Football League? But you had to figure that the Jets would find a way to lose that game, and they did. First, that was that Flacco play. They doinked a couple of field goals also, although the Dolphins also had one go off the crossbar and or off the upright and bounce away and blew a couple of scoring opportunities, but essentially cashed in when they had the chance for the most part, while the Jets were guilty of making stupid mistake after stupid mistake after stupid mistake. Rex, by the way, buried the hatchet, not in the back, though, nice. Of Robert Saleh, but they buried the hatchet. And now he thinks Saleh is a genius and that the Jets are in very good hands.
There you go.
You think Saleh said, hey, listen, Rex, I'm coming over now. I'm going to kick your ass.
Right.
If you don't shut your fat mouth. Although I like Rex's commentaries because at least he goes out there and says something, and he's not screaming at you and seemingly in agony like Stephen A. Smith is at all times. And, getting back to this whole idea that how seriously can you take sports where you're just like screaming at the 3 guys that are sitting with you. You can't tell me it's not tyranny. Stephen A., man, you're talking about a basketball game, for God's sake. They lost by 3 points. I don't know that you need to stick a needle in your arm and threaten to kill yourself if people don't agree with your opinion on the game. Just absolutely nuts. So the Dolphins now, Miami has the Dolphins, the greatest football team. They take the ball from 20 to 20 like no one's ever seen. We're on the ground, we're in the air, we're always in control. Because when you say Miami...
Yeah, exactly.
Are we hosting the Super Bowl this year? That would be the only way that we have any shot of seeing one with the Miami Dolphins in it. But here they are, Louie, 4-7, and not that far out of it. Just knocking on the door there, right behind. I hesitate to do that because you don't want to knock us off the air, but knocking on. There was somebody at the door, knocking on the door, and they all of a sudden find themselves, at least halfway alive. after losing 7 straight. They've now won 3 in a row. So that was big. And an interesting day all around the National Football League. Many, many different things happening. I did watch. I was getting 6 points instead of the usual 6 and a hook that was posted in every other line from my buddy Francesco on that Pittsburgh game last night. And it seemed impossible to cover the point spread. This shows you why. I mean, you cannot keep the formaldehyde far behind if you're going to be betting on football games, because you're going to need to take a sip of embalming fluid at some point, realizing that if you play this game, keep it under the auspices of, and I watched a lot of Godfather over the weekend. I had like a Godfather marathon going on. Showtime. This is the business we have chosen. That's what you have to think of, because, wow, I mean, if you had the Los Angeles Chargers in that game, you were feeling pretty good. You're up 17 points in the fourth quarter, laying 6.5 to the general public, laying only 6 to my friend Francesco. Somehow, does his cell phone not have like a decimal point and a 5?
He never gets the hook.
I don't care if he doesn't have like a half symbol on that flip phone that he's carrying, but why is every hook rounded off in his favor? That's am I not supposed to get odds if I offer him that consideration? You would think so. But you had to think you were dead meat if you had the Pittsburgh Steelers in that game, and you had to think you were on easy street, just cruising, which the situation with the Los Angeles Chargers, I think, is as bizarre as any team that I've ever seen. They play now in that SoFi Stadium that was put together by the Rams guy, Stan Kroenke, who's now suing everybody. He's become Al Davis. He's suing Goodell. He's suing the entire NFL. DeMaurice Smith isn't safe from his wrath. He's got a lawsuit that's going to crush the National Football League based on the fact that he said he was going to take on the entire burden of whatever financial burden he was going to have to bear for, like, leaving St. Louis completely high and dry with no authority to do so, and like another 30 years left on a lease at whatever stadium they were playing in. Hey, we're here at Busch Stadium. Yeah. The Rams will be here forever. Right? Whoosh, gone. All right. So he claimed at the time, and naturally the city of St. Louis is suing the National Football League, and Kroenke, the owner of the Rams, who moved to Los Angeles and now have this multi-billion-dollar stadium that this guy built. He said that he was going to take the entire financial burden of any lawsuits against the National Football League, and now he says, I don't know nothing about that. He went Pentangeli on Goodell, speaking of the Godfather. I don't know nothing about that. I did have another illusion I wanted to make here before I forget it, though. Bill Cowher, is he not morphing into the Marlon Brando character in Godfather 2? Where he comes on, he even has I don't want to, I mean, is there something wrong with his voice, or is it just changing over time? You would imagine there would be a, permanent hoarseness from being if that's a word,
All the time.
from yelling all the time, right? I mean, the guy's yelling and screaming for like 30 years, and all of a sudden later on it catches up with you, and he had a raspy voice to begin with, Bill Cowher.
Yes.
But the cheeks are puffing up a little bit. He's got the 3-day stubble working as he's on TV. And they go to Cowher, and he goes, I don't think these guys are going to feel so good after the game. Well, what is that? Hey, Vito. Did you say take Fredo out in a boat?
Yeah, exactly. He turned into a mafia don.
I think he is morphing into that. But yeah, just crazy stuff all across the board there. The Lions couldn't get their first win. Now they're going to be up on Turkey Day, the first team up. See, you didn't suffer through a lot of torturous years of watching Lions football, because by the time you got around to that Thursday, Thanksgiving, were there 2 games? Yeah. Or no, 3 games came along when? About 10 years ago?
Yeah, pretty
they
recent.
added the third game.
The Cowboys and the Lions. The Cowboys and the Lions were always playing on Thanksgiving for most of my life.
Cowboys and the Lions had that tradition going, and it was always the Lions first up. And I remember watching a lot of boring Lions games. They had a guy, I believe he's number 42. I'll have to ask our friend Big Al about this. Number 42, a guy named Altie Taylor. A real pedestrian running back. I mean, a guy that was going to average like 3.1, 2.9 per carry. And he had a sensational day one Thanksgiving Day, as like Milt Plum or somebody from the 50s led the Lions to a victory on Thanksgiving Day. But I don't know. What is their record? Has anybody checked on it? There has to be a Mark Lawrencean trend there that involves, if served turducken at a pre-Thanksgiving dinner. I don't know how he does it, man. Mark Lawrence. He comes up with these theories, but yeah, I mean, there has to be. It should be an obvious, well-known number, should it not? What the Lions' record is against the spread on Thanksgiving Day. How do we not know that, Louie? Degenerates like us.
And they started the third game in 2006, so it's been about 15 years.
Okay, so long enough to and it was a great bailout, was it not? Because many times the Lions were never an attraction. I mean, maybe briefly there they had the Matrix. They had Matthew Stafford, who of late hasn't necessarily looked all that great. A lot of quarterbacks that we thought and were ready to send to the Hall of Fame all of a sudden look like crap. Ryan Tannehill without Derrick Henry, they lost to Houston yesterday, to Tennessee Titans. My God.
Ryan Tannehill.
People in Nashville, yeah, they're going to be thinking about just taking their dog out. And, well, I don't want to say that.
No.
No, they have to be distraught. I mean, ready to, do some kind of harm or violence to another living thing after what's happened with the Tennessee Titans. They were on their way to the Super Bowl for sure. And then Derrick Henry got hurt. And I'm not sure. I don't know what happened in that game yesterday. I didn't see a lot of it. Tyrod Taylor, I guess, had a pretty good ball game for the Houston Texans.
Had 4 interceptions. So
there you go. Okay. There you have it. You were right about him all along. This guy's a bum. He can't play.
I know what I'm right about.
All right, so we don't know where we're at with our Dolphins team. We'll find out. We'll get the dissection from John Congemi. I am looking at the report card here in the New York Post on the Jets, who I thought put up a decent effort for a crappy team. Did they not? I mean, it wasn't like they were blown out in this ball game, and they still were in there with a shot late in the game. So the report card, offense is for the Jets. So it'll be offense C, defense D. Was their defense that bad in the game? I mean, considering how horrible they've been, they'd given up 175 points in 4 games. We had that stat on Friday's show.
Compared to how it's been.
Looked like the Purple People Eaters to me. It looked like Gang Green all over again. I was thinking Joe Klecko was going to get a sack on Tua. Which, there's another problem, too. Does anybody know how to say this man's name? This is what? 3 years into his tenure here? 2?
It's 2 years.
Yeah, 2 years into it. Yeah, okay. But we've been seeing this guy on the scene. I mean, he kind of surfaced there like 2 years prior with Alabama. We knew him.
But with Alabama, they never corrected his pronunciation. Until Lee Steinberg got involved, he was Tagovailoa. His name didn't change until he was coming into the league, and Steinberg wanted everyone to know how it's supposed to be pronounced. So all the people,
but nobody pronounces it that way. Not even Tua.
That's a funny thing.
How could you be in the league like 2 years already, and literally nobody knows how to pronounce this guy's name? I don't anymore. I don't even attempt it. It's just going to be Tua from now on. It's not like he's playing in the NHL. I mean, we should be able to say this guy's name. I mean, it's not like you're talking about Dostoevsky or something, right? I mean, I'm talking about a guy with a Samoan type of name. That is he Samoan or just?
Yes,
okay.
Hawaiian. Yeah.
So he should be the throwing Samoan. This guy, second coming, but didn't look half bad, but still doesn't overwhelm me Tua as a quarterback in the NFL. I mean, is he really a dynamic NFL quarterback? I would say at this point. Not sure. I mean, he can develop, I would imagine, but nonetheless, I don't see it, as, wow, knocked my socks off with that ball game yesterday, even though the Dolphins won it. All right, so you got a C, a D, an F on special teams. They were horrendous for the New York Jets yesterday.
I'm on a Jason Sanders. Wasn't he a Pro Bowler last year? The dude sucks.
Yeah. And what happened to him? He never missed.
He booted like a 30-yarder. Like they before half had a chance to score a touchdown. They settled for a field goal. It was shorter than an extra point, and he booted it. It was like, what the hell's wrong with this guy?
Nuts. And then coaching got a C yesterday, mostly because Robert Saleh made up with Rex Ryan. So, I mean, they weren't badly outcoached by Brian Flores and his crew. And again, the Dolphins, their opening drive is a stroke of genius. Why can't they keep that up? Opening drive has like well-designed plays, stuff that you would draw up in the schoolyard if you were calling 3 plays ahead. Okay, Louis, you go out to the left there. You're going to run a crisscross. So you pick off this guy's guy and straight down the field. Banana Y12, as John Gruden would say. But it's always, I mean, the flow of the offense on that opening drive, just sensational. And then right out the window. That bogs down. All right, we're coming back. Jason Cole analyzed some National Football League material for us. Also, a lot of big college games took place. Dan Mullen got fired by the Florida Gators. So you say it's all Elmo's money that the boosters just come through to give the guy the $12 million and he goes away? Because that was always an issue with University of Miami fans thinking, well, we got to get rid of Coca. And they couldn't afford to pay these guys to go away. That was always a big thing. Al Golden, same thing. You can't give the guy like $12 million and then not have a coach and pay another one. But the Gators, no problem. Dan Mullen, what happened to this guy? Last year, he was the fair-haired boy. Every Gator fan was in love with Dan Mullen. How did this happen? Well, I guess they keep getting hammered by schmanky teams, no?
Yes. This year was a very different year for Dan Mullen.
Yeah, horrible. That's your comment? You don't like to say much about the Gators. Usually you would tee
up
on this guy.
The Gators. We just need to go to break. I mean, they slowly declined. He had 2 10-win seasons and an 8-win season, but at least he had a Heisman candidate and a top 5 draft pick. So they had a lot of hope going into this year, and they couldn't figure out the quarterback position, and the defense was a joke. It's just classic.
Who hits harder, LeBron James or Terrence Crawford?
Oof, that was interesting. That was fun. See LeBron in his old age get really bitter.
Yeah, the guy needed a cut, man. I mean, talk about not being able to take a punch. It just opened up like Arturo Gatti. My God, it was spilling blood all over the place. It was Kermit Washington all over again. Just Rudy Tomjanovich, right? I mean, I happened to be watching that game. Couldn't have caught a guy with any more of a sledgehammer than he did. All right, we're coming back with more. Jason Cole going to analyze some football for us. John Congemi goes Dateline Dolphins here on the Defo Show. Getting a lot of comments here. Andy is prolific today. Andy on the comment line. And and also we're hearing from our good friend Alan here. Says Tua is injury prone regardless of his skills. True. It could be. I mean, I hate to put a label like that on somebody. But he is always hurt. You're right, Libby.
He is. I can't hate him. And I'm Mr. Tua defender, but the kid frustrates me. Like he just stands back there in the pocket, takes way too long to make decisions, and then he's hurt a lot. And it's actually even I am getting frustrated with him.
Yeah, no, you're ready to throw in a towel. I mean, if you haven't seen the light by now, forget about it. It's not happening. All right, Jason Cole coming up next. NFL insider extraordinaire. Been with us a long, long time on the shows and universally renowned as one of the great NFL reporters. Destination Sport Miami. Speaking of greatness, yes, Destination Sport Miami, very, very ambitious project. We've been talking about it. You can look it up, check it out at destinationsportmiami.com or just Google Destination Sport Miami, much like you can Google the show here, the Defo Show. I finally just put it out there, Luby, and said, forget about it. You don't have to worry about Ion Channel if it's too complicated for you. No problem whatsoever. It seems to be relatively simple. People are catching on. Just Google the Defo Show. That was Jack's. Remember he made that proclamation while we were doing the show down there at the studio? And Thursday and Friday. And he just had it with us, whimpering about how people are saying, well, I don't know where to find you guys. But that's it. So I put it out there. So hopefully we have some new people connecting. Just Google the Defo Show, and we're here from 7 to 9 every morning until 9:30 on our Degenerate Friday show. And then you can watch the stream and the audio and the video and all of that stuff goes on continuously on an endless loop, which is what it would seem like was facing the people at Destination Sport Miami. Just an endless stream of problems and complexities in trying to get their project done. But it's happening, right? Going to be in Doral. And you can Google Destination Sport Miami, see what they're doing. The largest indoor facility, multifaceted sports facility anywhere in North America, right? The Canadian president was just down here. He's talking to Biden. What's the first thing he said? We ain't got nothing like that up here. Talking about Destination Sport Miami. Thank you, sir. And keep those guys with the Jean plates out of South Florida. But anyway, a great project with great people. I saw Randy Moss, very impressive to get on TV yesterday, Luby. Randy Moss was doing a great job on the ESPN pregame show. He's the leader of all of the football programs they're going to have at Destination Sport Miami. You have G-Money, Glenn Rice, shooting a rock from three-point range. And imagine, you're a kid in like a youth program, and there's Glenn Rice.
That'd be ridiculous.
Showing you, the proper technique. Just go ahead and make sure you follow through. G-Money. Great people all the way across the board. Of course, we love Brian Trottier, the 4-time Stanley Cup champion, 4 in a row with the New York Islanders. And he is part of the program there. Jill Ellis on the soccer programs. Levon, I Love You, Miami. Hernandez was on the scene. Many other great people associated with Destination Sport Miami. It's going to be numero uno here in South Florida in terms of sporting destinations. That's why it's appropriately named Destination Sport Miami. Check them out online at destinationsportmiami.com. All right, Jason Cole right around the corner. I'm Jeff DeForest. He's Mike Luby Lubitz, just getting rolling on this fine. What are you calling this thing? It's a Pigskin Monday.
I was just joking because you always make fun of the shows that have to have a title every day.
Have to have like Touchdown Tuesday, my friend. Touchdown Tuesday. All right, back with Jason in a moment. Now that. It's 7:34.
Since day one of Old School, we've had Catholic Health Services be part of our family. They are recognized as the quintessential rehab facility in the Southeast for strokes, but it goes well beyond strokes because Catholic Health Services is in the community of South Florida to help the community stay healthy. And if they're not healthy, get them healthy and get them back on their feet quicker than they could have ever expected. They do it every single day. It's step and repeat 24/7. Catholic Health Services.
Destination Sport Miami is here to revolutionize the sports landscape in South Florida. The largest indoor multifaceted sports complex in North America is on the way, with distinguished leaders of its various sports programs and unparalleled access to the finest indoor training fields and facilities. Destination Sport Miami will set South Florida apart as the destination of choice for elite athletic training and development and for its dedication to youth programs and sports on all levels. A phenomenal concept and a powerful undertaking, Destination Sport Miami will also be an important commodity in the sports business community as well. Destination Sport Miami, its time has come. The championship meet is right around the corner at Gulfstream Park. The only place for live racing, Gulfstream's action has never been hotter. Whether it's on the track, in the casino, or part of the dining and entertainment offered at the Village of Gulfstream Park. Currently running Thursday through Sunday, Gulfstream's racing package is the best in the country, with all the top horses and people in the game pointing towards another tremendous winter season. Check out the remodeled first floor casino, open 7 days and nights a week, along with the many special events and concerts happening at Gulfstream Park. You can place your wagers from anywhere at firstbet.com. Check the calendar of events at gulfstreampark.com.
From the newly renovated sports bar to the beautiful bayside views captured at the Tiki Bar, Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill has it all. Located at mile marker 104, the Big Chill also offers waterfront dining while experiencing breathtaking sunset views of the Florida Keys. It's simply the hottest spot in the Keys to cool off. That's Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill at mile marker 104 in Key Largo. For more information, call today at 305-453-9066.
Buy or lease a Taos and take it to the house at Deal Volkswagen. Anna and her team make your next VW purchase or lease so easy with new inventory rolling in daily and the biggest selection of certified pre-owned vehicles in the business. You can make your deal online at dealvolkswagen.com or visit the beautiful showroom in the classic location, 3601 Bird Road, right in the heart of the Gables. Or give Anna and the team at Deal a call at 305-448-DEEL. Jettas, Passats, Tiguans, Atlas models, and the hottest vehicle in the industry, the new Taos, all at unbeatable prices and all ready to roll off the showroom floor at the #1 Volkswagen dealership around, Deal Volkswagen.
Mr. Pentangeli, were you a member of the Corleone family? Did you serve under Capo regime under Vito Corleone, also known as the Godfather?
I never knew no Godfather.
Angela, you are contradicting a sworn statement you previously made to me and signed. I ask you again, sir, here and now under oath, were you at any time a member of a crime organization headed by Michael Corleone?
I don't know nothing about that. Oh, I was in the olive oil business with his father, but that was a long time ago, that's all.
We have a sworn affidavit. We have it. Your sworn affidavit that you murdered on the orders of Michael Corleone. Do you deny this confession?
Look, the FBI guys, they promised me a deal. So I made up a lot of stuff about Michael Corleone, because that's what they wanted. But it was all lies. Everything. And I kept saying, Michael Corleone did this, and Michael Corleone did that. So I said, yeah, sure.
It's now time for The Defo Show.
The great Albert Castillo bringing us in here with some tunes that were recorded, and I believe nobody owns the rights to, not even Albert. So it's out there in the public domain, Mike Luby Lubitz. Welcome back to the show, The Defo Show. I'm Jeff DeForest, along with Mike Luby Lubitz here on ION Channel, ionchannel.com. Fine organization. Very happy to be associated with these people. They're doing a marvelous job for us, and we are thankful and grateful. We do, have to give them fair homage for believing in us at the very beginning there. I walked in off the streets, Luby. And the next thing you know, here we are doing this thing. And John Kajemi is going to join us later on. We apologize. We were scheduled to talk to Jason Cole, unable to locate him right now. Hey, Jason, you around? But always very authoritative and insightful when it comes to National Football League play. I did want to touch on the college scene. And I don't know how emotional people are. It seems like, a guy loses a game these days and he's out. Did you realize this? I don't know if it's some kind of a record. 13 NCAA football coaches have been canned so far during the course of the season. 13, Louis. Does that not seem like an unusually high number? That's since the start of this year. 13 colleges or universities have fired their head coach, thinking as much as we believed in this guy, just like at the beginning of the season. Well, I don't know if that was true of the UMass guy. He was like 2-57. Over the course of his time there. Man, there's not a lot of emphasis on football here. They were happy with the 2 wins. Especially if they were over, what would be the arch rival of UMass? Like Rutgers? I don't know. No, something in Boston.
I think they beat UConn.
Boston College.
They beat UConn, and that was about
They beat UConn. That guy got canned also. And, he was saying, I'm thinking about leaving the job. He said, well, don't think about it too long, man. Here's your final check.
Done.
We'll buy you out of this mess. No matter what it costs us, it's not worth having the stench that you've left here over the program hovering over it much longer, starting to permeate the atmosphere in other parts of the university, like the boosters are becoming aware. But the Dan Mullen thing, that was pretty swift. Does a guy deserve like one bad year, or were the indicators so strong that this guy did not have? And you were not a Mullen fan when he got the job. I know you were teasing our good friend Mike Nyman, a giant Gator fan, maybe one of the – I mean, if he was 100 pounds heavier and looked like a hillbilly, he could easily be mistaken for a bull gator, no? Mike Nyman, in terms of his gator worship. Now, he went to the school, so, I mean, I'll at least give him that. I don't know, are there Gator fans that did not attend the University of Florida? Were they forced into this by bloodlines, DNA, any kind of genetic thing where the parents went to the University of Florida?
Yes.
I would think the kids would be more inclined to be, University of Florida. Like Jess Man could have gone to the University of Florida, whereas I never would have had any chance. No, really, being from out of state, plus I never would have qualified, although I don't know that the academic standards were as high. It was always considered to be, though, the most difficult of the state schools to get into, was it not? I mean, you had to have commensurate grades with something that would look like you were at least remotely responsible in terms of doing the work that was required to earn a degree from a major institution. Florida State was considered like right up there, but, not quite as difficult to get into as the University of Florida. Is there some resentment there? And University of Miami people, I mean, that's, prohibitive, right? Because unless you're getting some kind of a scholarship.
Yes. That's ridiculous.
I don't know. The cost is astronomical. Yeah, my dad is a dentist. No, not just a dentist. He owns 60 clinics.
Exactly.
No, we're on time payments here. I mean, what's the tuition there? I don't know. Only down in Shalala.
It's not. It's a lot.
You got to put a lot of Shalalas up to go there.
Yes.
So you wouldn't expect them to be able to maintain the kind of dynastic programs that, well, FSU was in the toilet for a long time. The Gators have always been fairly prominent, have they not? I mean, when they have been down, they've usually resurrected themselves, although, not recently. And yet it seemed like Dan Mullen had the program going in the right direction. I hate to use that cliche, Libby. Is that fair? Did I use that cliche? Or, should I feel badly about the presentation we're giving today? Because that doesn't say much. But, last year I thought this guy was a coach of the year type of candidate.
I think he's a solid coach. I actually thought the hire was fine because Gators always think they're getting. It's funny. Chip Kelly at the time was a big time hire. He goes to UCLA and he's been a disaster there. But they always think they're getting Gruden or Saban's going to leave, or Urban Meyer. They always think they're getting the big name. And at the time, Mullen had actually done some interesting things with Mississippi State. The problem with Mullen, and it's something the professor and I have talked about since he was hired.
He's crazy. Yeah.
Well, it's not even that he's crazy. His wife's crazy. Fine. He just isn't a good recruiter. Like, he's never been known to be a good recruiter. Even when he was an offensive coordinator at Florida, he was a good coach. He was never a good recruiter. And in the SEC, Tennessee sucked and was getting top 10 classes. Like, there right now, recruiting is in the 30s. Like, you can't be an SEC head coach and not be in the top 15 recruiting. And that's what did him in eventually. Like, yeah, the 5 losses this year to Power 5 teams in a row. Almost
you couldn't wait one more game, though. I mean, you have to come in there before they play FSU. Their arch in-state rival, regardless of where FSU is at.
He said, "I don't want to stay." Like, he's going to get $12 million to not coach. Like, why would he not go? It's our dream.
Very weak, though, don't you think? I mean, wouldn't you want to inspire the kids one more time? I mean, where's Tony Segreto on this one? Oh, well, he would denounce Mullen as being a fraud anyway because he hates the Gators. That's a one program. I mean, you never hear Tony say anything negative about anything.
Except for the Gators.
Right? I mean, he'll bring Jesus into the conversation, all kinds of stuff. And then with the Gators, like he wants to spit on her grave. It's crazy. What happened there? I guess, if you went to the University of Miami and called a lot of their games over the years and were very closely associated with all of the people involved in the program. And he's still on like the board of directors.
Yes.
He really does. I mean, he urinates all over the Gators anytime he gets the chance.
Well, the Gator flop, and then they stop playing the Canes for whatever.
The flop was a disgrace. I mean, there's no doubt about that. And disconnecting that series, discontinuing that series was under the auspices of, it's way better for us because why would we want to play a good team when we can play a cupcake? Because we're in the SEC.
SEC wasn't even that great in the 80s. SEC became great in the 2000s when Bama.
They were losing. They were crybabies, like Notre Dame, like Michigan, many other programs that just said, okay, enough of you, Miami.
Yeah, exactly.
Now they can't wait to get them on the schedule.
Yeah.
Right? Laugh tracks are going off when the AD says, okay, guys, come in here. I'm going to call Manny Diaz and see if I can book a game. Can't call Blake James anymore. They don't have an AD. But they can't wait to get Miami on the schedule now because it's sort of got the name lingering from 20 years ago, but just ain't the same, as Bill Cowher might say on the pregame show. So Georgia, a dominant performance, but they played, a nobody team. Okay. Yes. And Alabama also was in Cupcake City. I mean, that wasn't much of a challenge for the Crimson Tide. So those games didn't mean much. Ohio State, though, was playing a Michigan State team that surprised a lot of people this year, including Manny Diaz and the University of Miami, and shellacked them. I mean, just spanked them up and down. So that was the most impressive performance of the college football weekend, and it moved them into the AP polls number 2 spot ahead of Alabama and Cincinnati. Notre Dame and Michigan round out the top 6 there. And you have still the college football playoff rankings to come out, and I would imagine they're going to look – well, Oregon drops out. So what happens to Cincinnati? Yeah.
They did a crystal ball and played a nice Utah team, but a team that they should have routed, and they got shellacked.
Smoked.
It's a crystal
I was stunned. I turned that on. I see the score. I'm like, oh, wow, look at that. Oregon's already up 14-0. And, of course, it was the other way around, and Utah never let their finger off the jugular there, their thumb off the jugular. And I went outside for a second and came back in. It was like 28-0.
Yep.
It's crazy. Yeah, they absolutely annihilated them. So now what happens? Does Cincinnati move into the playoff picture, Mike Louie? Or did they find a way to stiff them in
probably.
the end?
If Oklahoma wins out, then they may go, Oklahoma, the Big 12, look at them. Woo-woo. I would like to see Cincinnati get a shot. I don't think they have a chance versus any of those other teams, but, I mean, if they're undefeated and all these other teams have 1 to 2 losses, like Oklahoma hasn't been that impressive, and they just had a horrendous loss like a week ago. So I might as well give them a chance. Like, if you're not going to give them a chance, then don't put them in the top 10 all year. Like, pick. Like, either be honest and say, look, they're never going to make it. We can't even rank these teams, or give them a playoff shot. Like, supposedly either next year or in a couple years, they're going to go to 12 teams. Like, at some point, you're going to put these teams in. Let's see what they have, I guess.
Somebody will always have a reason to bitch, though. I mean, wherever you make the dividing line, whether it was to 4 versus 5, 8 versus 9, There's always going to be somebody that feels like they got stiffed. It'll be interesting, too, because now you're going to be going against some heavyweights. You still have Alabama in there. You still have Georgia. Ohio State looks like a monster after this annihilation of Michigan State. So I don't know. It's like the old thing they used to say about Bobby Bowden's FSU teams who were steamrolling people in the last 4 or 5 weeks of the season. And the common adage was, I don't know if anybody wants to face that Florida State team, even though they can't win the national championship. Who would want to meet them right now? Because they lost to some weenie NC State program somewhere at home at Doak Campbell in front of 100,000 stunned fans. What does that place hold? 70? I think something like that.
It's hold like 90,000 now. I think they've gotten rid of it to add suites and all the schmank them, so it's like a 75 or something like that.
So how does this play out? Cincinnati gets in, and they were struggling to beat some nondescript teams in recent weeks. They had a very impressive win this past week. They gave up some points at the end of the game, but essentially were in complete command all throughout the ball game. Against a mid-range team. But is it going to be like Andy Ruiz when he got into the ring against Anthony Joshua? You remember that, the little fat Mexican guy? Oh, there he goes.
I was going to say.
No, I don't mean that as a general portrayal. It happened to be a little fat Mexican guy.
Those were all true.
He was about 5'4". He weighed 320 pounds. He made Butterbean Esh look like he was a spokesperson for Weight Watchers or something. Forget about Oprah. We got Butterbean here to tell you, you eat this, you get skinny. But anyway, and Joshua is this strapping 6'4" heavyweight, who's sort of sculpted by heavyweight standards today. I mean, it's not like he's Hercules Mike Weaver, but looks as imposing as anybody when he steps into the ring there. And he's shown some vulnerability of late, but nonetheless, he's in there against Ruiz, who he could have held, just his hand out and held his head like the old days. You used to see this in,
cartoon
slapstick comedy where the guy would hold his hand out, keep the guy at bay, and he'd be swinging away wildly at the body and never able to connect. And, Ruiz goes in there and knocks the guy out after getting knocked around like a 10-pin in a bowling match. He comes back, knocks out Anthony Joshua, and wins the heavyweight championship. Now, later, Joshua beat him in a rematch by a decision, but you would have never. I mean, this was David versus Goliath. This was the ultimate underdog there. And I think he was like a 25-1 underdog, Andy Ruiz, and scored the upset. Could Cincinnati be in that role? Or did they just get pummeled in the very first game and disgrace the whole notion that these kind of teams are deserving in the first place of being in the Final Four? Because it'll never happen again if they go out there. I mean, they are representing a lot. I'm fighting for all of Mexico. They're representing a lot, right? All of the weenie teams that want to get into the college football playoff before they expand to 100 teams, which is an eventuality. Gambling will probably spark that, no? What, guys? MGM? What? You need more games? And we have until when to get that together? You're going to cut off the money? Imagine how much control these people have now over all of this. Where's Mark Emmert, right? You got Steve Wynn calling the shots when it comes to college football now. All right, we're coming back with more. Apologize for not getting you Jason Cole, but we will have John Kajemi going, Dateline Dolphins, and a lot to talk about here on both the college and pro football scene. And we also will have, I guess, on Wednesday, we'll give out our Turkey Day 3-team parlay.
There you go.
We hit with that with the all-animal parlay. I want to say that might have been one of our last scores here on the show, Luby. It's been a long time since we hit with a very bold prediction, but we hit the all-animal parlay that day. Yeah, we got to come up with something. And we'll try and get some picks from our handicappers also.
I was going to say
maybe
the
holiday as well. Very good, sir. Couldn't understand what you were saying there, but
maybe have them on another day this week, maybe tomorrow or Wednesday.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, we can do that for sure. And the 3 games on Thanksgiving Day, I mean, a boring festival, but of 2 teams that Chicago Bears don't really do much for me, and the Detroit Lions, at least you could be in there rooting for the Horatio Alger story where they come up with a win on Thanksgiving Day to please the home fans. And then you have the Raiders who got crushed like a grape yesterday. And they're going against the Dallas Cowboys on the road. The Cowboys couldn't raise a gallop offensively against the Chiefs defense that was, as I said, probably weaker than the defense in that case in Glynn County, which might go to the jury today.
Yeah, exactly. That'll probably.
Now, if that was self-defense,
God,
there I go again, as if I'm Johnny Cochran here.
I know.
If it doesn't fit, You must have quit. If he said that in law school, I've said this for many, many years. If that was his final exam in law school, he never would have got a clerk's job in the court. The professors would have laughed him out of it. That's your closing argument? If it doesn't fit, you must have quit? Hey, listen, Walt Whitman, you're just going to send this guy into the chair with that. But, of course, it worked in real life, which is why this show works, I think. Defoe and Luby here. Jeff DeForest, Mike Lubitz on what is the beginning of a very festive week. Very festive. By the way, turkey, 49 cents a pound, Publix.
Is that good?
Catch that, Louis?
I don't know. Is that good? I've never bought turkey.
Yeah, man. It was like $4.99 in Las Vegas. Of course, I think our friend Sheldon bought that turkey at a gas station. I'm not
Exactly.
sure. All right, we'll be back with more on Ion Channel. Once again, always a pleasure to be here on Ion Channel. IonChannel.com. You can Google The Defoe Show. Tell your friends. And people are finding us, Louis. That's always great as we head into the holiday week here. John Congemi goes Dateline Dolphins, brought to you by Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill. I do want to tell you about what's happening at Hialeah Park. More jackpots than ever being won, my friend. More jackpots than ever. And then on December 3rd, you have the Larry Little thing. And then please log on, you horse-playing degenerates out there. They're having another one of those handicapping contests with a seat to the NHC. Made available to the winner. A friend of ours, Evan, don't mention my name, pulled it out on the last race.
Nice.
It was wild. Well, this was a couple of years ago, which was the last time they had it, and he won a seat to the NHC, and I benefited because I kind of cherry-picked my way onto the flight. Courtesy of Jersey Kyle's generosity, and ended up in Las Vegas for a few days. Evan was playing a tournament, so he was OOP out of the picture, and we were just having a blast, plunging away in the race book and the sports book. So you can win a seat for the NHC in Las Vegas, and that's like airfare for two and 2 hotel rooms in addition to the cash that you win. So check it out if you're a horse player. And everybody had a blast there, and they all had rave reviews about the Champion Simulcasting Room. Frankie was telling me there are some openings still as they want to get as many people into this as they can. And they have the information on HialeahPark.com for the handicapping contest. I want to say that is December 13th, I want to say. But it's either the 11th or the 13th. If it's neither of those days, check it out on the website there. We'll check it out for you before the end of the show so we don't have anybody thinking, hey, when was that thing? Boxing coming up, El Boxeo. The official announcement is coming soon, and that's going to be great. I believe the announcement might be made in conjunction with that Larry Little celebrity dinner that they have at Hialeah Park. So that's going to be a lot of fun, and that's going to be great stuff. Frankie told me some of the people that are involved in the card. If you were a fan of and you're seeing all kinds of new guys coming in from Cuba that have tremendous boxing skills and are making their way up the ranks very quickly in the pros, and you're going to see some of those guys on display as Hialeah Park features boxing, and that is going to come up sometime in January. Information, stay tuned there at HialeahPark.com for more information about that great event. All right, we're coming back with John Congemi, brought to you by Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill, mile marker 104. Very excited, Luby. When John Congemi says something's going to happen, it's going to happen. So we should be down there with a live show from Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill in Key Largo, mile marker 104. And we'll have Dateline Dolphins to look around the National Football League and also the college football scene with the great John Congemi. That's coming up in just a moment here on Ion Channel. I'm Jeff DeForest. He's Mike Lubitz, and we'll be back with more in a moment. Now that. It's 7:57 Eastern.
It's the Gambling Gourmet for Cafe Seville in Fort Lauderdale. It's one of my favorite places. It is old school joint that's serving Spanish and classic continental cuisine in a cozy, friendly setting. It's at 2768 East Oakland Park Boulevard. They're open every day except Sunday for dinner, starting at 5 p.m. You go in there, you see Joey and his better half, Sally. They are giving the greatest in service. And the food, oh my gosh, it's paella, shrimp with garlic sauce, stuffed veal chop. They serve this great, fantastic, warm sourdough bread. Go to Cafe Seville in Fort Lauderdale and tell them that the Gambling Gourmet sent you.
Hey, folks, Tony Segreto here. What if I told you you could go to a great restaurant, feel completely safe because their COVID protocol is unmatched, have an amazing meal, have a great time. When the bill comes, you won't get sticker shock. You're going to say, that's too good to be true. No, it's not. because I'm talking about Texas Roadhouse. Great family atmosphere, great atmosphere for a couple, great atmosphere if you just want to go by yourself and watch a game and have the coldest beer in town. And while you're doing that, have the best bread in town. All at Texas Roadhouse. Everything you get there is fresh every day and made sure it's served at your table, hot and ready to go. And the best part is you don't get sticker shock because the prices are amazing. Texas Roadhouse.
Destination Sport Miami is here to revolutionize the sports landscape in South Florida. The largest indoor multifaceted sports complex in North America is on the way, with distinguished leaders of its various sports programs and unparalleled access to the finest indoor training fields and facilities. Destination Sport Miami will set South Florida apart as the destination of choice for elite athletic training and development and for its dedication to youth programs and sports on all levels. A phenomenal concept and a powerful undertaking, Destination Sport Miami will also be an important commodity in the sports business community as well. Destination Sport Miami, its time has come.
Since day one of Old School, we've had Catholic Health Services be part of our family. They are recognized as the quintessential rehab facility in the Southeast for strokes, but it goes well beyond strokes because Catholic Health Services is in the community of South Florida to help the community stay healthy. And if they're not healthy, get them healthy and get them back on their feet quicker than they could have ever expected. They do it every single day. It's step and repeat 24/7. Catholic Health Services.
Buy or lease a Taos and take it to the house at Deal Volkswagen. Anna and her team make your next VW purchase or lease so easy with new inventory rolling in daily and the biggest selection of certified pre-owned vehicles in the business. You can make your deal online at dealvolkswagen.com or visit the beautiful showroom in the classic location, 3601 Bird Road, right in the heart of the Gables. Or give Anna and the team at Deal a call at 305-448-DEEL. Jettas, Passats, Tiguans, Atlas models, and the hottest vehicle in the industry, the new Taos, all at unbeatable prices and all ready to roll off the showroom floor at the #1 Volkswagen dealership around, Deal Volkswagen. We wanted to get into some college football with John Congemi, longtime analyst on ESPN, former quarterback, of course, with the University of Pittsburgh.
Manny Diaz with the new Miami and the chain and all the stuff, and they had a nice recruiting class last year. There was a lot. He was winning the offseason, as they say. I don't know if he's been a Power 5 team in a while. We understand where the Canes are, and I get it. You, Defo, me have said they can't ever be a dynasty again, but we thought they'd be pretty good. And with Clemson struggling this year, North Carolina struggling, it felt like this could be a year the Canes could seize the ACC. What do you think the future is for Manny Diaz?
Anytime an article comes out in the local paper where your name is mentioned and they say we've adjusted the buyout to your contract, doesn't bode well for a head coach.
But we thought they'd be pretty good. And with Clemson struggling this year, North Carolina struggling, it felt like this could be a year the Canes could seize the ACC. What do you think the future is for Manny Diaz?
Anytime an article comes out in the local paper where your name is mentioned and they say we've adjusted the buyout to your contract, doesn't bode well for a head coach.
Welcome back to the show. Good morning once again, everybody. That handsome man that just popped into your screen there, right underneath these two turkeys at the top. Jeff DeForest and Michael Lubitz is John Congemi, and we're about to go Dateline Dolphins and look all around pro and college football with one of the outstanding analysts, 21 years with ESPN, 25 according to his father, who was angry when he said that how could they let this guy go, which is amazing. I saw you all over TV again yesterday. John Congemi, part of the pre- and post-game packages with the Miami Dolphins coverage on the local station here that carries the game, CBS 4, a dynamic station. And you carry Jim Barry and the other guys on the Mike Cunha. They're like, I don't know what happened out there. And then they go, let's go to John Congemi, and boom, there's your perfect dissection, as if you were in a chemistry lab and dissecting a frog. Just incredible. How are you, John? Good to have you on the program, by the way.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. And it's been fun actually covering the Dolphins the last 3 weeks. You string a couple of wins together, and now you start to look down the road and you see some teams that are beatable, or maybe just as beatable as they think that the Dolphins are when they see them on the schedule sometimes. So it's one of those things where there's starting to get a little bit more excitement around the building, more excitement with this football team, because I think the quarterback and the team is playing closer to the standard that they had set earlier in the year.
How is it? You always hear that football coaches and teams, I don't know, you would know this better than I would. Do they really script the first 15 plays regardless of how the other team is lining up against you? By the time you get to play 13 and you're getting shellacked, do you think it's time to deviate from the program? But whatever the Dolphins do offensively on their very first drive of a lot of the games that I watched, it's sensational. They look in perfect sync, and you're thinking, wow, they're using Tua, except for maybe an occasional stretch down the field, in exactly the fashion that you would like to see him, and he's going to prosper, and he's got the right guys around him. And then it kind of fizzles out. So what is it about that first drive? Because that was, once again, like a thing of beauty, and you thought they were going to blow the Jets straight into the Hudson River.
Well, it's something you'd like to bottle for sure if you get your handle on it, because the Dolphins have had a high percentage of not only scoring, but scoring touchdowns in their opening drive. And I think yesterday against the Jets, it was more about tempo. I thought they dictated the tempo of that first drive, where they had some good bounce to push the football down the field. And they did. They went and put some points on the scoreboard, which was nice to see, because you knew you needed fast on the road. That's always something you'd like to do. Even with a team that's struggling, the Jets are struggling mightily, you'd like to take the crowd out of it. You'd like to take their hopes of, that glimmer of hope early in the game that they could get the upper hand. And I think the Dolphins did that. Now, whether they're scripting plays or not, I'm not quite sure. I've done that in the past. And Defo, to your point, sometimes if you go 3 and out, you throw the script out as well. You kind of abandon that thing. But when you hold dear to it and you're practicing it and you're repping it during the week, sometimes it holds true to script and you're able to push the football down the field because you're starting to get success and you're getting into those situations you've practiced. If it's 3rd and 5 after 2 runs or a quick screen to the outside, now you've got a 1st and 10, you've got a great play dialed up, and you've already repped it against the coverage you think you're going to see, and it happens. It's really easy. And I think sometimes those things do fall into place.
John, I've been as big a Tua defender, and you've heard it from me directly yourself.
I have, yes.
What I will say, and I think he's playing fine, but I'm starting to get a little frustrated with his inability to move the pocket, right? Because at Alabama, I find people want to talk about how he's not a great runner, but he was a good scrambler. Like, the dude was really good at extending plays with his legs, sometimes running, sometimes throwing down the field. Feels like a lot of the times he gets 2 at home in the pocket, and what's already an average offensive line, I feel like that hurts the offensive line. Like, what are you seeing with Tua? Do you see him progressing in that regard? Because to me, it feels like he holds onto the ball a little too long at times.
You know what? I'm taking a look at that from the other side. I'm thinking that's a good thing for Tua, because the line's going to get better. Protection is going to get better. I think those guys are going to continue to improve in front of him. And if he bails too early, sometimes you give up on plays where guys are just about ready to get open, but you've already gone out from the pocket and you've already flushed yourself instead of letting the defense flush you out, right? And now you're off of that guy. Gesicki just might be in the clear, or you might just get Hollins on a deep end cut, but you're out of there already and you have no chance to get there. I thought yesterday, especially down in the red zone when he hit Gaskin on the check down, the goal line, he had to stay in the pocket, and he knew he was going to take a shot, but that was his check down. That was his second read. So he was late to go outside where he wanted to go to the football. He did the right thing. He held it just enough until he saw that little blur coming underneath, and it was Myles Gaskin. He's able to take the shot, deliver the pass. And those are the things I think you can build on, because in the NFL, no matter how fast you are, unless you're Lamar Jackson or you're somebody else that can really run like that, you're going to have to stay in that extra count, take a shot, but deliver a strike down the field and be accurate with the football. I think Tua is starting to learn that.
Like a 60-year-old Joe Flacco in there. I think they were one step away from digging up Sonny Jurgensen. But is he dead, by the way, Sonny Jurgensen?
No,
say
I don't know.
He's
I don't
alive,
know if
yeah.
Sonny is. I know Billy Kilmer is alive and kicking. That's for sure.
Sonny, is he with us, or is he 6 feet under? Where's Sonny Jurgensen today? I want to say he checked out. But anyway, I mean, they were desperate. And it amazes me, John and Jimmy, and you'd be a great guy to speak to this, because guy's been with the team 2 weeks. Probably thought, okay, I'll be, trying to mentor these guys, I guess, a little bit and give them encouragement. These young guys that they had this Mike White, who was the second coming of Joe Willie, and of course they invested a number 2 pick in Zach Wilson, who's been hurt. So here's Flacco. He gets on the roster. Nice little payday for him, and all of a sudden he's starting. Like a week and a half after he got to the team, and then it seems like he knows everything that they want to do. It amazes me because they always talk about, oh well, this guy's had 3 different offensive coordinators and 2 different coaches. How did these veterans step in there? And they weren't completely out of sync, the Jets on offense. In fact, they might have looked better than they have in a while.
You know what, Defo? As much offense as they say, well, it's a new offense and it's a new coordinator, and you have to get to understand the dynamics of the offense. Once you've been around multiple teams and multiple offenses, one word might mean something else to you. So for a quarterback,
it certainly does to my wife.
Yeah, take out the garbage means to sit on the couch a little longer, right?
What is that knife doing in the sink? Yeah, well, I might pick it up.
Right. I have that problem with the leaves in the front of the house. I'll get to it next week. But the problem is, and it's a good problem to have, Flacco's been around and he knows offenses, he knows terminology, and they can almost dumb it down to where he goes, this means that. I understand now. So I'm just going to call it something else. And he's able to manufacture an offense within a week where other guys that don't have the experience of Joe Flacco might take a month. It might take 3 weeks to truly understand and be able to run the offense. They were probably going to be trimming things down and out of the offense that haven't been looking very good. And in New York, a lot of things haven't looked good. So you can pick and choose as a veteran saying, I don't want that in the offense. Let's stick with these core, running plays, these screens, these shot plays. I like these play action plays. So you trim the offense down and you run those plays out of different formations. So I thought Joe did an excellent job of really battling the pressure that the Dolphins defense brought, most of the time. When they bailed out, he was able to not be greedy, check the football down. And he used his mobility pretty well for a 36, 37-year-old veteran quarterback. So I thought he played well and gave the Jets a chance to win.
Yeah, I was impressed, and you see this quite a bit. I guess we saw it other places around the league also with McCoy having a big ball game, coming in and stepping in. It was a day of backup quarterbacks, and it is amazing that, the fans are always screaming for the backup to be the starter, and now the Jets have the quandary of I guess Zach Wilson will be eligible to come back. I don't know if they trust Mike White after that 4-interception debacle a couple of weeks ago or just last week. And, Flacco, who kind of eased the storm, a little bit and kept them in a ball game that they easily could have won, getting a couple of breaks. Although there's always one clown play where you're wondering, what was in the offensive coordinator's head when he allowed a guy to come free off the blind side at the 5-yard line, the Jets were, and Flacco gets smacked in the back there. And we were saying earlier, he looked like one of those guys coming ashore, in some war movie or Saving Private Ryan, where the first guy gets blown up right away. And that was a huge turning point in that game where
it was.
The Jets had many scoring opportunities. Yeah, that they blew.
Yeah, 7-7. The Jets are going in to score, and you get a big hit from the backside. Brandon Jones comes in untouched, and then you've got. I think Robert Hunt, the offensive lineman for the Dolphins, inspired all big men now that when they get their hands on the football, they're going to score. I think Christian Wilkins scoops that up, and he's going to take it, 80 yards for a score, and he ends up fumbling the football, and Javon Holland hops on it for the Dolphins. But that was a big play for the defense. There was going to be a point in that first half where either the offense was going to have to make a play to kind of get separation or calm the nerves of the whole game. Well, the defense came up with that big play, that big turnover that really changed the momentum of the game.
All right, many things happened around the National Football League yesterday, some to great surprise. What happened to the Buffalo Bills? I'm looking at the Eastern standings in the AFC, and there's Bill Belichick atop the standings. Are we in a time warp, John Kajemi? They were supposed to be bad for a while, and the Bills were headed for the Super Bowl a couple of weeks ago. And they can't get out of their own way right now. And got annihilated yesterday by Indianapolis, who all of a sudden is the darling of all of the wise guys. Hey, watch out for the Colts.
Well, I think for Buffalo, if you can't run the football at this time of the year and you're playing at home, Buffalo is going to struggle. And I never thought they'd get there because I thought their offense would be beyond those issues. They have a pretty good offensive line. They have a dynamic quarterback, and they have playmakers at wide receiver. So you think you're going to be able to soften defenses up with the running ability of Josh Allen, but not only his running ability, the plan runs. And they just haven't been there. And they've kind of given up on running the football. And I think that's to their detriment because when you're playing in the cold and it's going to get worse in Buffalo over the next 6 weeks, you probably have 2 or 3 home games left. You're going to have to do that. And the offense has been stagnant. They've been anemic. The quarterback play hasn't been really good. And when you turn the page to New England, all the things that Buffalo's not doing well, the New England Patriots are doing well. They're playing good defense. They threw a goose egg at the Atlanta Falcons on Thursday night. Their quarterback is playing as good or better than most in the AFC.
Young Tom Brady. Yeah. Young Tom, they call him.
Yeah,
like he's a turkey.
I know. Why not? I mean, he looks like he's in control of the whole situation, and he's looked that way for many weeks. So it's been a godsend to sit in the draft room, have Mac fall to you, and you not give up one thing in terms of draft revenue for the future or for that particular draft. And you sit there and you've got your quarterback of the future, and he's playing at a really high level. So New England right now is on a roll where Buffalo's on a little bit of a decline.
Nobody's managed personnel better than Bill Belichick and the New England Patriots over the last 20-some-odd years since Brady came to the team. And, of course, that was a pick that a lot of people could have nailed down. There was a story the other day in the Post about how there was a scout who saw Brady and was recommending him from like the third round on to the New York Giants, begging them to take him, and they wouldn't do it. And would have naturally changed the course of history. Although you don't know how it would have turned out because Brady happened to fall into a situation that was absolutely ideal for him, as may be the case. And the strongest point you could make on behalf of Mac Jones is that Luby condemned the pick as being horrendous. A thoughtless, mindless pick. But the Patriots always had this thing, and a lot of teams don't do this. They make outrageous trades like the Dolphins were making, where they trade like guys that you see with massive potential that are young. For draft picks, and then don't do anything with the draft picks, which is a big complaint. But the Patriots, they would let go of a guy that had tremendous shelf life and fear nothing about, what possible repercussions that could have, and then find some nondescript guys in the draft that all of a sudden blossom for a few years, and they were always able to make that system work. They're, sort of a championship team on the same principle that the Tampa Bay Rays are, that everybody's expendable.
Well, they would get rid of a perennial Pro Bowler for a guy that you never heard of, and all of a sudden the guy you never heard of turns into a perennial Pro Bowler. Yeah. And especially on the defensive side, I think they've had a really keen sense of knowing when the tread on the tires has worn for that team, for what they do really well and what they're asking to do of their personnel. And they find the identical guy that's 6 or 7 years younger that they plug in, and after 6 or 7 games, it's seamless. And they don't really feel like they've lost anything. Actually, they've gained another 5 or 6 years with that new player.
Pretty incredible, yeah, to be able to do that consistently. And obviously a huge dynamic in their long-term success as an organization. John Congemi with us here on Ion Channel. Always great having John for Dateline Dolphins. I'm Jeff DeForest. He's Mike Luby Lubitz, and you can find the show very easily. John, tell your friends, just Google The Defo Show. That's it. That's our new motto. Just Google The Defo Show, and we are there. We were just about, everywhere in the world here with the Ion Channel people behind us, and so it's great to be here. Now, there is a promise out there, and I couldn't be any more excited about this. If I wanted to give thanks for anything on Thanksgiving Day, it'll be the possibility of a future trip to Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill.
I'm telling you right now, I don't
Key Largo. I tell you what, there's been some stress. I mean, I try not to show it, but let's face it, you're out of a job. All of a sudden, you're thinking, what the hell am I going to do? They always tell you in this business, don't buy a house. I just closed on a house. I was in the middle of it to kind of compromise my chances. All of a sudden, people weren't as interested in lending me money. But so I could use it, a trip down to the Keys. And Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill is just an ideal spot. In fact, they had an interview with the Jimmer feature I saw something related to, how they got the slogan, "How about them Cowboys," and what happened with it. And it was shot. It looked to me like it was right there on the patio deck there at Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill.
It was. And you know what? Jimmy loves to go.
He looked great too, Jimmy.
And hang out. Yeah, I know. Jimmy's getting younger, it seems like.
Yeah.
And he's doing a great job, as usual, on Fox every Sunday when you get to see him. And it was great to be with him a couple months ago down at the Big Chill. We got to sit for an hour and talk and chat and ask any questions we wanted. And he was gracious with his time. And hopefully he'll be able to do that again. And it looks like we are going to go down, guys.
All right.
Probably within the next couple of weeks.
Nice.
We're going to talk with Larry and Amanda and Dominic right after the show today and get everything ironed out and get down there probably in the next couple
My
of
heart
weeks.
be still. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the perfect time. A little crisper in the air, I guess, down in the Keys, and beautiful views from the Big Chill, and get to eat and drink and have a good time. So, and that's what everybody does when they're down there. First class in terms of how the service is, and first class with the sights and sounds. So if you're into music, Sundays are a good day to go to the Big Chill. Also with the sports bar, the newly renovated sports bar, terrific spot just to hang out and have a beverage and something to eat and watch your favorite team. So it's just a great place to be. You go to the Tiki Bar, hang out outside because the weather's perfect and the views are spectacular.
I got to bring Mayo down there to Gambling Gourmet. Mike Mayo.
You should.
And he has to try this. He's a huge pizza guy, right?
Yes.
And yet it was inconceivable what they were doing with that Italian fisherman pizza.
Yeah,
inconceivable.
My brother
you can have a
Dominic does
pizza
great
like
job
that.
with that stuff.
Wow,
Very
that was
creative.
absolutely
They are
fantastic.
creative.
I like that he had to wait because he was waiting for a couple of fresh scallops to come in to put on top of our pizza. And it's like, "Hey, Joe, you going to bring those in?" "Yeah, okay." And the guy gets off a boat right to the kitchen. Incredible. That's how fresh the seafood is. At Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill, you're going to love it. A great stopping point if you're heading to any destination in the Keys. And if you're watching us and listening to us anywhere around the world, and you're coming to South Florida, that would be destination numero uno for any vacationer. Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill, or somebody that just was looking for a great spot to hang out with for the day. All right, I do have a correction here. Of course, I was all around it, Louie, but I didn't know the right answer. It's December 12th, the Hialeah Park handicapping contest.
Nice.
It's great. You have a $300 live bankroll, and $125 goes to the cash prize pool. I think it's $500 to enter, and there are two winners, going to be two recipients of seats to the National Handicapping Championship, which is in Las Vegas at Bally's, and a fantastic event for horse players. It's really wild to even watch these guys in a room there. I mean, you got the biggest horse players in the country, but a lot of average guys that won tournaments like this, satellite tournaments, are in there too. $10,000 buy-in in that tournament, and $1 million to the winner. So you have a shot at all of this. Imagine you put together a couple of winning horses, John.
That'd
Boom.
be a nice payday. I need at least one of those would be nice.
It can be done. I mean, every dog has his day, so to speak. I mean, even Houston was able to beat Tennessee yesterday in the National Football League.
right.
All right, we'll come back. We'll talk some college football. Dan Mullen getting canned by the University of Florida. 13
And
guys,
Manny
John,
still has a
have gone down.
job. And Manny still has a job.
I mean, people keep speculating. I don't know why negativity just seems to prevail all the time, because is that the most important consideration, that because so many premium jobs are now open, like USC, and of course, you got TCU, you have the
LSU,
University of Florida,
yeah.
big job,
Yeah.
Louisiana State. And Lane Kiffin is the first candidate for all of them.
All of them. Yeah.
This was a guy who was begging Schnellenberger at FAU, please, let me coach a
I
team.
just need a job. He just needed a job. Now everybody wants him.
Now he's got a decent job, you would have to say, by any coaching standards, and every job he's going to get. But wide open, and people are always putting it this way. Well, Miami will never get a top-line coach because all these other guys are going to get him first. Is that possible? We'll discuss that with John Kajemi when we come back here. See, I posed the, vintage, typical sports talk topical
There you
question.
go. Look at you.
What does that do to ruin our chances of finding a coach? Back with more in a moment. Now that. It's 8:23. Play the ponies in style at Champions, the outstanding simulcasting room at beautiful Hialeah Park. Yes, the grand old lady of thoroughbred racing has never been more vibrant, and you can wager on the races from the top tracks around the country while enjoying a cocktail at the Brass Rail Bar or any of the fine foods served throughout the facility. If poker is your game, you're covered in style, and you can play all your favorite Vegas-style games, including blackjack, craps, and roulette,
in Hialeah Park's sizzling hot casino. Get a player's card when you walk through the door for all kinds of generous amenities, including our favorite, free play, when you come out to the ultimate casino and entertainment destination, Hialeah Park.
Hey, folks, Tony Segreto here. What if I told you you could go to a great restaurant, feel completely safe because their COVID protocol is unmatched, have an amazing meal, have a great time. When the bill comes, you won't get sticker shock. You're going to say, that's too good to be true. No, it's not, because I'm talking about Texas Roadhouse. Great family atmosphere, great atmosphere for a couple, great atmosphere if you just want to go by yourself and watch a game and have the coldest beer in town. And while you're doing that, have the best bread in town. All at Texas Roadhouse. Everything you get there is fresh every day and made sure it's served at your table, hot and ready to go. And the best part is you don't get sticker shock because the prices are amazing. Texas Roadhouse.
Hey, it's Mike Mayo for Even Keel Fish Shack, corner of A1A and Commercial Boulevard at Lauderdale by the Sea. It's my favorite place now for great seafood in a casual beachfront setting. They've got happy hour 4 to 7 Monday through Friday. They've got great dishes like grilled oysters and oysters on the half shell, bang bang shrimp, lobster rolls, octopus. They also have burgers and chicken for those who don't like the seafood. They're open 7 days a week for a lunch, dinner, and weekend brunch. Go to Even Keel Fish Shack. Go say hi to Dave and Brad and tell them the Gambling Gourmet sent you.
Recently, we realized it's not just hurricane season that can hurt us. Any time of year, things can happen to your home or business. And the insurance company can be your friend, but they also can be your enemy. Horizon Public Adjusters, Justina Testa, are here for you to help this process go so much easier. Before you call the insurance company, call Horizon Public Adjusters and Justina Testa at 954-809-8752. Would you go into court without an attorney? So why would you go up against an insurance company without Horizon Public Adjusters and Justina Testa? 7 to 10 times more money recovered with a public adjuster than if you went on your own. If there's no recovery, there's no fee. Give them a call at 954-809-8752. Why go up against insurance companies alone? You can have Horizon Public Adjusters and Justina Testa on your side.
Buy or lease a Taos and take it to the house at Deal Volkswagen. Anna and her team make your next VW purchase or lease so easy with new inventory rolling in daily and the biggest selection of certified pre-owned vehicles in the business. You can make your deal online at dealvolkswagen.com or visit the beautiful showroom in the classic location, 3601 Bird Road, right in the heart of the Gables. Or give Anna and the team at Deal a call at 305-448-DEEL. Jettas, Passats, Tiguans, Atlas models, and the hottest vehicle in the industry, the new Taos, all at unbeatable prices and all ready to roll off the showroom floor at the #1 Volkswagen dealership around, Deal Volkswagen. Coming back with more on this week's edition of Dateline Dolphins with John Congemi. Always a lot of fun having John on the show. Marino, did he ever honor one of those running play calls that Shula would send in?
No, that was the one when he just waved at the sideline. It was disgusting. I got it.
Yeah. You know there's going to be some kind of audible call. Yeah.
No way.
86 to play. That was the call.
The modern day odd couple, Defo and Louie, are on now. It is, of course, the Defo Show.
Welcome back to the show. Great to be with you on this fine Monday, my favorite week of the year, favorite work week of the year. And now, when do people check out on actually working John Congemi? Welcome back, Jeff DeForest, Mike Lubitz, John Congemi. We're going till Wednesday and going very strongly, and we'll have a couple of special editions of the program coming up Thursday and Friday here on Ion Channel. But you've been around, conventional business situations. When are the flowers in the punch on the work week? Is it today? Is this the last possible productive day, or is today a washout also?
No, I think you fake it today. I think you kind of go in.
That's what we're doing this morning.
You give it a shot. You give it your best shot, but you start waning at around 3:00 today, and I think tomorrow it's a 50%er, and then it's 15 to 25% on Wednesday, and then you're out the door. That's a normal week for Thanksgiving.
Yeah, you give the security guard the rest of the alcohol that was left over from the Tuesday lunch. All right, it's December 12th, that handicapping tournament. I meant to emphasize that at Hialeah Park. You can enter and check out all the information at hialeahpark.com. And a quick word, too. I know this is confusing for a lot of people, especially geezers like me, John Congemi, but health insurance open enrollment is already underway. HST Insurance, good friends of ours, they understand how confusing this time can be, and they can help you navigate your options. Whether you're looking for yourself or trying to check out some policies for your family or friends, whomever, they have a plan designed for you. Their trusted advisors can find a plan that meets your needs. So call HST Insurers at 855-282-8022, 855-282-8022. All right, very interesting on the college front. And to show you, how bizarre a year it's been, 13 coaches. Is that a record, John Kajemi? Have been let go during the course of the season. 13 college football coaches have been fired, head coaches.
It would have to be right up there. You would think so. And not only the number, but the amount of high profile jobs. And they're not done. You're still coming down to a couple of weeks left with rivalry games. And I just think it's gotten, the expectations for universities that everybody's going to win or everybody's going to stay where they're at. It's just not attainable. And you cannot continue to win at levels unless you're getting, the Alabamas and the Georgias and even Georgia, for as much as they've won and been consistent, they're still not happy because they haven't won a national title because they can't find a way to beat Alabama at the end of the season. So it's going to be crazy how the next month unfolds in terms of where teams are in the playoff. Cincinnati has an open door now with Oregon, really just getting pounced on by Utah on Saturday night. And Ohio State rolling over Michigan State was a huge surprise. Even though they played in the shoe, you never saw 56-7 coming at you.
John, of the jobs available, we always do what's the best job, and USC usually has the most sizzle, but they haven't won now since the early 2000s. LSU won most recently, but again, it before that they were always a top tier, but lower level top tier job. UF is usually considered one of the better jobs just because of what their boosters do. We have down here Miami, which once a time ago was a good job, a fun job, but to me, the way we've talked about it with their money situation, it's a far cry from some of these other jobs. We joke about Lane Kiffin being up for every job. Of the jobs available, what's the best one in today's world, by your estimation?
I would say not in the SEC because you have to go up against Alabama and Georgia and Texas A&M. And not only do they have coaches that are at the top of their profession, they're getting the best players year in and year out. So even though Florida is such an attractive job or LSU is such an attractive job, you're only going to win in your 4 or 5 or 6 year cycle that you can beat one of those two teams, potentially two of those two teams, because you have to in the SEC title game. So I would say it would be a Pac-12 or an ACC job because you can win those divisions. You can win in those conferences. And if you go in with one loss and you're the champion of the ACC or you're the Pac-12 champion, you're going to get in the playoff. And you have a really strong chance of getting in the playoff where you're going against Alabama, Georgia, Texas A&M, Georgia, Texas A&M, Alabama. If you're a one loss, two teams are getting in the SEC. So I would say the Virginia Tech job is very attractive if I was a coach because you can win there. You can challenge for the Coastal. There's going to be a different winner every year in that division. And in the conference, you can potentially knock off a Clemson or you can knock off somebody else from the Atlantic and feel like you're going to have a chance to win and play for a national title.
The great John Kajemi going Dateline Dolphins with us into a little college football here on ION Channel, the Defo Show. Jeff DeForest, Mike Lubitz. Still stunning to me, and I've mentioned this many times because I covered a lot of UCLA, USC games in my previous life as a newspaper writer out in California. And it was a laugher at that time. I mean, the USC was in the midst of a glorious run with John Robinson as their head coach. Their running backs, like in succession, were Charles White, who was excellent, Ricky Bell, an animal, and Marcus Allen. And this was post-OJ. So they always had tremendous running games. And they had very clever quarterbacks, including the cerebral Pat Hayden. A guy named Paul McDonald was a quarterback. And they would destroy UCLA.
I remember watching those guys.
Yeah, and it was a foregone conclusion. I mean, covering some high school football in the area, that any stud high school player, including Ronnie Lott, who I saw play in high school at Eisenhower High in Rialto, California. And you're looking at this guy going, well, where's he going to college? Of course, it was USC. So they had everything going, much like I guess Miami did for a brief period of time with the Howard Schnellenberger thing in the state of Miami, which continued for a while, where all of the local prospects would go there. But how could they be bad? It's amazing to me. It's the largest recruiting hotbed that you could possibly have, and high school football, as much as it means here in Florida, you've probably seen this, John. I mean, it's a monster. It's almost like on a minor pro level in California, and a lot of great players. So it does seem stunning that they could be that bad for that long, and have staggered around and trying to find athletic directors, coaches, whatever that can fix the problem.
You know, growing up, Defo, with all the names that you mentioned, and no one really recruited California except for USC and UCLA. I mean, it was a foregone conclusion if you were an athlete. Maybe Texas, maybe Notre Dame was going to go and recruit nationally. But if you were a West Coast guy, you stayed on the West Coast, and you got the best of the bunch of California. No one was going to Colorado or Arizona State. You were going to USC or UCLA, and you were going to play for a Pac-10 championship at the time, and potentially a national championship, depending on the writers and where you ended up and what bowl game you were playing in. Now, which is probably the Rose Bowl, because that's your goal for going there in the first place, to play against the Big Ten and come away with a championship. So, yeah, you're right. It just seems like the way recruiting has gone, and how many teams play at a higher level and everybody's on TV, that you don't have to go to just those two schools if you don't like the head coach, or you don't like the coordinator, or you haven't, you're not on board with the colors of those schools because they've been down for so long. Why not try Colorado, or why not try Iowa State when you're a kid from California? It just they don't have the draw as they once had, because so many teams are playing on TV and so many teams are recruiting you, that it's about your relationship with that head coach or position coach that's in your area, probably weighs more than the colors or the names of those two universities.
All right, a bunch of names come up in conjunction with all of these jobs, and it does seem like they hang Lane Kiffin's picture like it was Vito Antifermo out front of an Italian restaurant. I mean, everywhere you look, like USC's going there, he's coming to Florida. It seems odd. I mean, the guy's bags are barely unpacked there at his current stop, which he's doing very well. So I don't know why. He's always the first one to be speculated upon. The other names that you hear, Bob Stoops, does he really want to come back to coaching after 3 years out? I wouldn't know, but he was always kind of an interesting, likable guy, and obviously had success wherever he was. And this guy from Louisiana, Billy Napier. I don't know anything about this guy, but can you enlighten us at all on Billy Napier? Because it seems almost a certainty that one of these schools is going to take this guy as their new head coach.
Well, also Matt Campbell from Iowa State. His name's been mentioned all over the place because of the job he's done. I don't know. You have a lot of guys. Eli Drinkwitz at Missouri. He goes from Appalachian State to there, and now they get a big win, and now he's mentioned for different jobs. I don't know about Billy Napier and where he's going to end up, and I don't know about Bob Stoops coming out of retirement. I think he likes retirement.
I think they're going to dig up Charlie Pell. That was among the speculation also. Yeah.
It's crazy. And who wants to come, take, for instance, the University of Florida. Who wants to come to Florida and not be able – I mean, you're a 2-point conversion away this year from knocking off Alabama, totally turning your season around, and potentially be coach of the year because you're going to get on a roll. Now you're fired.
Yeah.
And you're, at a 5-win clip, you're trying to play your rival, in-state rival, just to get bowl eligibility. And you may not even want to go to the bowl that you're going to, play for on Friday or Saturday, whenever that game tees up. So it's going to be crazy. Lane Kiffin's going to be up for a lot of these jobs just because Lane either wears well on you or wears thin on you. And depending on what university and how desperate you are to win, those are the schools that want to either keep him or maybe shed. So I think he's going to stay at Ole Miss because he's going to get what he wants. Ole Miss just wants to compete, and they're beating the teams they're supposed to beat. They're playing exciting football, and Lane's providing that opportunity. They were kind of middle of the road, lower road in the SEC when they were kind of stuck in the mud there for about 4 or 5 years. They thought they were going to be good, and they just kept taking a couple steps back. Lane comes on the scene, brings in his high-tempo offense, gets a quarterback that can run it perfectly in Matt Corral, and now they're going to beat everybody but the top tier of the SEC.
Well,
or they have a chance to.
Well, and something I want to touch on something because you're right. Look, Florida State has sort of jumped the gun a little bit. People said with Willie Taggart. I think now Mike Norvell's shown, he's got things a lot.
He's a good coach.
Than Taggart had it. There was a lot of stuff we found out after Taggart, the discipline and all this stuff. Florida State looks different under Norvell. So, okay, maybe they made the right move getting rid of Taggart in year 2. Mullen, however, 2 straight 10-win seasons. Last year had a Heisman candidate, a top 5 pick. Yeah, they struggled a little bit this year, but he did get rid of the defensive coordinator the minute he realized, okay, this isn't working out. Like, did they jump the gun on getting rid of a Dan Mullen in just year 1 of
Yeah, I think so. To be quite honest with you, yes. Because Florida has been good. They have not been, 7-win, 5-win, 3-win. All of a sudden, there's a reason. He's been very good, and they've been getting guys that really compete at the highest level around the country. Just look at the way they've recruited. Just look at South Florida. They come in and you've taken the best players out of the best high schools in South Florida. Miami, has done a decent job of that, but I would say Florida's done a much better job of getting the higher recruits out of the state of Florida, and they've gone nationally to get players. And they struggled a little bit, but like I said, or as you said, Luby, to your point, a couple of 10-win seasons, you're a play away from beating Alabama at home. You've got the whole university and the Florida fan base excited about the future. You start to hit some bumps in the road. You make some changes on the staff. I think you live with that guy because he's proven over the last few seasons of what he can do. I think they jumped ship a little early, but that's the way college football is. What have you done for me lately? And if it hasn't been good, and unless you've got a bad buyout or boosters that don't want to go along with that program, you get rid of the guy.
It's great. I mean, you could be deemed a failure by the organization you're working for, even on what is supposedly an amateur level. And still walk away with $12 million in cash.
He's the happiest guy around.
My God. Probably. I mean, what kind of money are we talking about here? All right. Mullen was a strange cat. That guy looked a little kooky to me, too, the athletic director there. I know they had Jeremy Foley there for many years, and I'm not sure what this new guy's name is, but when he was making the announcement.
Strickland, right?
Yeah, there was, an element of Dean Wormer there to me. I thought that was at work. So good luck to the Gators in finding their new head coach. I know there'll be a lot of passion, especially here in South Florida, associated with that particular search. All right, let's look at what happened in college football, John Congemi, at least at the top here, because tomorrow I'll have the college football playoff announcement. And you would have to think that after the shellacking, I mean, it's one thing. They came in as 3-point underdogs, and I thought, and I think the professor even picked Oregon in his game against Utah. You have like a number 3 team against number 25 or 24, something near the bottom of the top 25. And even though Utah had played well and represented itself well, and there was somewhat of a divide as to who really should have the edge in that game, with Utah obviously favored, to get that kind of a beating, obviously they're gone, from the top 5 in the next poll. So does that move Cincinnati deservingly in, or do they find a way to get jobbed?
I don't think they can move Notre Dame in. I think.
Oh, yes, they can. Believe me, man. It's the committee, and touchdown Jesus wouldn't happen any other way.
That's the one they can
I think
there you go.
Cincinnati. I think Cincinnati's got to be in the top 4, to be honest with you, especially with Michigan playing Ohio State this week. And that's going to probably, depending on how the outcome of that game goes, if it's more one-sided, definitely that other team's going to drop significantly. And if it isn't, they're going to hang around, but I still don't think they're going to get in that top 4. They may be dropping to 6 or 7 because of what's around them. But, that was a shocker with Oregon, only, scoring a touchdown and really out of the game early. I mean, it was 28 nothing, I think, at one point. And they were out of it early, and Mario had no answers on the sidelines. That they were just getting outplayed, and that's a tough draw going to Utah. Everybody doesn't really know the dynamic of that stadium because it's not overly big and it's not overly loud because you're only getting 60-some thousand in there. But that's a tough place on an evening night to play late in the season, and the Utes proved it. They have some talent, and they put it to Oregon.
I think this was on TikTok. A shot of Phil Knight throwing a vintage Michael Jordan sneaker through a television screen.
Yeah.
As he was watching this embarrassment. Now, Mario Cristobal, though, always a hot name. Everybody was talking about him. I mean, a week ago, he was probably ahead of Lane Kiffin as everybody's darling to come back to Florida, and not necessarily University of Florida, but certainly Miami. His name is always mentioned in conjunction with that job. He might be looking for that job after that game. Although, by and large, I mean, it is amazing that one game can make such a big difference like a run in the NCAA tournament can. Even if your team doesn't win it, you take like Schmenck State to the grade 8, and you're coveted by every team that has an opening. And Cristobal was in that category. What, in your opinion, John Congemi, if anything, does this do to that notion that he should be your next head coach, whatever university has a job open?
Well, not much. I think you're going to have some of the fan base say, Mario couldn't do it, in the big stage. How's
that was Lumi? I read right at the top of the show. Said, there you go. He actually used the thing. He got Cristobal.
I'd say he does
24 hours. 24 hours changes your lens of what's going to happen with the head coach. Can he turn Miami around if he wants to bring his family down back to South Florida, where he played college football, where he was a GA, where he was an assistant coach? Oregon's a pretty cushy job. I mean, as you mentioned, you got the relationship with Phil
a lot of money
Knight,
behind
Nike,
that school.
and a lot of cash, and
no problem.
And you're getting recruits. You talk about a school that's getting recruits nationally. How many times I've been to St. Thomas when Coach Frost was an assistant. Now he's the head coach at Nebraska. He was an assistant at Oregon. I see him walking the halls at St. Thomas Aquinas High School, and they're everywhere. And they're getting players from everywhere. So I don't know if he'd be, putting on the Nikes and trying to get to South Florida when you have such a nice kind of a cushy job at Oregon and done a really nice job of turning that program into a winner again in a short amount of time. And it's a national recruiting base where in the state of Florida right now, you look at the Miami job. Yeah, it's national, but how much is it better than Florida or Florida State in terms of recruiting? Man, I don't know. On par, on some cases, maybe. So I don't know if Mario, number one, would, if the job opens, does he want it? Does his family want to move? Number two, does the fan base want to support him? Have they lost any confidence, after that shellacking they took as a football team? And do they feel like he's their guy, or is it Lane Kiffin for every job, until he stays at Ole Miss and now you're back to square one?
Who's funneling more cash into the program, I guess, would be a consideration. Is it Phil Knight or is it Nevin Shapiro? You're looking at the two options there. I don't know. I'll take a shot here in Oregon. The weather's not so bad, even though it rains every day. All right, we'll come back with more with John Congemi. Georgia #1, Ohio State moves its way into the #2 spot in the AP poll. Surprising devastation and complete decimation of a Michigan State team that a lot of people consider to be pretty good. And then we have Alabama, of course, is going to be there, even if they lose a couple of times, in the next couple of weeks. And maybe Cincinnati. We always love the underdog getting a shot, the David versus Goliath. All right, so we'll come back. We'll talk some more pro football and college football with John Congemi on Dateline Dolphins with John Congemi, brought to you by Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill. Once again, mile marker 104 in the Keys. You could not have made my day more exciting than to think that as soon as you're done with this, you're going to pick up the phone and make final and definitive arrangements for our return to Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill, John. This is going to be great. Is Tommy Fox involved in this thing? Or
He absolutely. Yeah. Tom's right in the middle of this thing, so we're going to get on the phone and speak with Larry and Dominic and Amanda and get this thing ironed out and really bring everybody that watches now the Defo show some sights and sounds of what it's like to be in the Keys at Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill. I mean, just from the minute you step on the property, you look at the bayside views that you have there, and the accommodations at the Chill, the restaurants, the tiki bar, the sports bar, they've got it all. And we're right in the middle of it usually when we're down there. So hopefully we'll be right in the middle of it again, guys, in a couple of short weeks.
Let's go.
Most impressive thing was when your brother Dominic got up there on the stage with Larry Calvano.
Yes.
Now, normally the owner of a place, I mean, it's not true at the Funky Biscuit where Al Poliak is, a professional musician. When he gets up there on stage, it's no embarrassment. But usually if the owner wants to play with the band, you got to figure, okay, yeah. It's like James Dolan wanting to open up for the Eagles. Okay, so he owns the building. But, Larry and your brother, man, gets up there and sings like a bird, man. It was absolutely fantastic. And that's after schlepping all day in the kitchen. I mean, they must have served like 1,000 people that day.
That's the most impressive part. I don't know how they can get up on stage after working and preparing everything.
I was exhausted just eating. I mean, that's
I'm in that line, Defo, for sure.
That was great, man. That's a great vibe down there, and I couldn't be any more excited for us or the people at Ion Channel. I mean, who's ever on technical call for that particular show?
Yeah, good
Going to have nothing but a good time. Going to be just absolutely legendary. So looking forward to that. All right, don't forget about our good friends at Deal Volkswagen. If you need a Volkswagen vehicle, you're looking for a great car, Deal Volkswagen, the place to go right here in Coral Gables. But I think Anna is so insane now that she'll ship a car anywhere in the world.
Nice.
Right? So, I mean, even drive it to your house personally. You got a guy in Minnesota, orders a Tiguan. Boom, they're right there at your door. So go online at dealvolkswagen.com. You can check out all the inventory. Certified pre-owned vehicles, really a tremendous bargain at Deal Volkswagen. A lot of people are gouging the prices there, almost charging original sticker price for cars that would be deemed used cars. In this case, the certified pre-owns are like at half the price of a new car with low mileage and absolutely checked out to perfection. So you'll love that, too. That's at 3601 Bird Road in the Gables, right down the street from the U, where, who knows, maybe they'll have a new head coach. I don't know how that's going to work. We'll get John's opinion on that when we come back in a moment. Now that.
The time.
At least Manny can pick up a Volkswagen on his way out of town. It's 8:50.
Since day one of Old School, we've had Catholic Health Services be part of our family. They are recognized as the quintessential rehab facility in the Southeast for strokes, but it goes well beyond strokes because Catholic Health Services is in the community of South Florida to help the community stay healthy. And if they're not healthy, get them healthy and get them back on their feet quicker than they could have ever expected. They do it every single day. It's step and repeat 24/7. Catholic Health Services.
Destination Sport Miami is here to revolutionize the sports landscape in South Florida. The largest indoor multifaceted sports complex in North America is on the way, with distinguished leaders of its various sports programs and unparalleled access to the finest indoor training fields and facilities. Destination Sport Miami will set South Florida apart as the destination of choice for elite athletic training and development and for its dedication to youth programs and sports on all levels. A phenomenal concept and a powerful undertaking, Destination Sport Miami will also be an important commodity in the sports business community as well. Destination Sport Miami, its time has come. The championship meet is right around the corner at Gulfstream Park. The only place for live racing, Gulfstream's action has never been hotter. Whether it's on the track, in the casino, or part of the dining and entertainment offered at the Village of Gulfstream Park. Currently running Thursday through Sunday, Gulfstream's racing package is the best in the country, with all the top horses and people in the game pointing towards another tremendous winter season. Check out the remodeled first floor casino, open 7 days and nights a week, along with the many special events and concerts happening at Gulfstream Park. You can place your wagers from anywhere at firstbet.com. Check the calendar of events at gulfstreampark.com.
From the newly renovated sports bar to the beautiful bayside views captured at the Tiki Bar, Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill has it all. Located at mile marker 104, the Big Chill also offers waterfront dining while experiencing breathtaking sunset views of the Florida Keys. It's simply the hottest spot in the Keys to cool off. That's Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill at mile marker 104 in Key Largo. For more information, call today at 305-453-9066.
Buy or lease a Taos and take it to the house at Deal Volkswagen. Anna and her team make your next VW purchase or lease so easy with new inventory rolling in daily and the biggest selection of certified pre-owned vehicles in the business. You can make your deal online at dealvolkswagen.com or visit the beautiful showroom in the classic location, 3601 Bird Road, right in the heart of the Gables. Or give Anna and the team at Deal a call at 305-448-DEEL. Jettas, Passats, Tiguans, Atlas models, and the hottest vehicle in the industry, the new Taos, all at unbeatable prices and all ready to roll off the showroom floor at the number one Volkswagen dealership around, Deal Volkswagen. He followed in the footsteps of the great Dan Marino and brought Pittsburgh to heights not seen since the great Tony Dorsett ran the ball to Panthers' glory. He made the CFL fans forget about Flutie and Theismann and Warren Moon. As a football analyst, he's been compared with D-Row and Madden. And even more importantly, he survived the Joe Philbin era as a member of the broadcast team, the Finsiders. We welcome to the program the great John Congemi. Made a dynamite debut, as alluded to in the opening there, and came right back with a strong follow-up. And every Monday, 9 o'clock, we go Dateline Dolphins with John Congemi. Jonathan, how are you, my friend?
I am doing terrific, Defo. I think the most impressive thing about that open was me surviving the Philbin era. I thought that was
The only way to get your morning started is with Defo, joined by Louie, right here on The Defo Show.
It is true, and welcome back to the show as we wind up what is a holiday week Monday here, a Peel Yourself Off the Mat Monday, which I think we did a pretty good job of getting things started here, especially with the assistance of the great John Congemi, brought to you by Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill in Key Largo, and wow, and the Finsiders. That was quite an endeavor there during the Joe Philbin era. You talk about vapid, yes, but those were great. Those press conferences that Philbin used to have after, especially after a very difficult loss. The fans are screaming, the media is, ready to tear apart every strategic move, and he would start the thing by saying, "Well, you know what? I just want to congratulate the Philadelphia Eagles. They were the better team today, and
that was the best.
We have a couple of things to work on, but you really have to give them all the credit, man. They just beat the snot out of us at every aspect of the game." It's like, okay, thanks, Joe. And I mean, say it in such a mild-mannered fashion, and you wonder how he got by the interview to get the job, which is
how do you get a follow-up question to that?
Exactly.
There was none. There were no follow-up questions. People would just walk out, go, hey, thanks, Joe.
See you on Tuesday or Wednesday.
That's it. All right. So one more game this week in the NFL, and then 3 games on tap on Thursday, which I want to get your thoughts on the Turkey Day and your approach to viewing Turkey Day football. Now, are you engaged for all 3 games? Because you're in a football family, if you will. I know your dad's into it. Does he wager a few bucks on these games? Because I would think maybe. I don't know if you're planning on Thanksgiving down there at Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill with the rest of the family. Are you heading down to the Keys, John Congemi, for this one?
No, I think everybody's at my house. So
nice.
We're going to have a packed house here.
Oh, nice.
Yes, we do partake in just about every game. Maybe not start to finish, depending on what time the meal starts. But yes, we do put some eyes on each of the games that day for sure.
Okay, so the Lions started out, and they are taking on the Chicago Bears, who haven't been all that interesting. Although I guess Justin Fields was maybe showing signs of life, and then he got hurt, not necessarily a very attractive game. Although I also think that Dan Campbell getting his first win on Thanksgiving Day would be tremendous, and perhaps he'll eat a live turkey right after the ball game. That would be spectacular.
He may chase a live turkey on the field for sure.
He was Rocky Balboa there.
I would pay admission to see that one. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, he's got to be thinking that eventually they're going to break through, right? They lose by 3 again to the Cleveland Browns, 13-10. They just can't get lucky outside of that one draw that they had a couple of weeks ago. All right, so Dallas and the Raiders. What do you think about that one? Dallas and the Raiders. The Raiders got spanked in their last game.
Yeah, and so did Dallas. I think Dallas is going to have to come back, after that tough loss at Kansas City. The Raiders, ever since the Gruden debacle with the emails and all that stuff, I just don't know. It's either feast or famine. They either look really good or they just look very, very average. So I like the Cowboys. Who doesn't like the Cowboys at home on Thanksgiving, right?
And what happened to the Buffalo Bills? And all of a sudden, the rails have come off, and Josh Allen, who was headed for like AFC MVP, they were going to win the Super Bowl. They're among the lowest in odds to win the Super Bowl in the AFC, and all of a sudden, they can't beat their grandmother.
Yeah, but the Bills are bad, but the Saints are worse. And at some point, the Buffalo Bills have got to turn it around. I mean, they were a good team a month ago. They were a very good team a month ago. No one was even going to come close in the AFC East, and now you've got a new leader at the top in the New England Patriots. So I think the Buffalo Bills, what does Chris Berman say? They circle the wagons, right?
Yeah.
I think the Bills are going to circle the wagons a little bit down the stretch, find their identity, and make a run at this.
All right, so we have the 3-team Turkey Day parlay from John Congemi. We didn't factor in any points, but, that's a higher degree of difficulty, of course. So you have what? Browns, Cowboys, and Bills. Turkey Day parlay, John Congemi.
I've got the. I'm going out on a limb. I'm going to say the Lions win.
Oh, Lions!
Okay.
In the jungle,
Andy Dalton's going to play for the Bears, I would think, because Fields ended up having that rib and spleen injury at the end of the game. So I don't know. I think I'm just rooting for Dan Campbell. Basically, it comes down to me rooting for Dan Campbell to get his win.
I don't want this guy to go unvictorious for the entire year. It would be pure torture. All right, John, you and your family, a great family, the Congemis, really tremendous people. And I say that in all sincerity, having met your family down there at Jimmy Johnson's. Spectacular. You can see why you are the distinguished and tremendous person that you are. Thanks so much. Happy Thanksgiving to you and your family, and thanks for being with us here on Dateline Dolphins on this fine Monday.
Defo, Luby, have a great Thanksgiving, and I will be texting you guys shortly about our date down at the Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill.
Let's go.
Yeah, baby. Yeah, man. I can't wait to get down there, all right? I'm even going to take up a little steel drum and see if I can't sit in with those guys to get that island feeling going. Thanks,
the more
John.
the merrier on stage. You got it.
Always a pleasure. All right, Luby, you have a great day, and we'll see you guys tomorrow here on Ion Channel. Some special things cooked up for the end of the week, including your turkey dinner here. And we are looking forward to tomorrow's program here on Ion Channel. And just Google the Defo Show. Tell your friends. A lot of people catching us now. That's absolutely fantastic. As we continue to grow, our thanks once again to Jack Namer, the lovely Amy, Brand, Miguel, all of the people that we've met over there at Ion Channel. Just terrific working with you guys. Looking forward to big things the rest of the year. And of course, 2022, it's going to be our year, I think, right here on Ion Channel. See you next time as we leave you know that.
The time.
It's 9:00 Eastern.
Let's go to eat a damn snack.
Look what they done to my soul.